We're joined by head coach Brandon Elliott of Virginia Wesleyan College softball. Coach, we'll just start with what we've had most recent here. You've been number one in the country for a lot of the season. Came away with your fifth ODAC title in your tenure. Talk a little bit about this year's team, maybe how it compares to some others, but really just about the success of this program being 46-2 right now.
Obviously, it's been a special year, JJ, and been super blessed with obviously great kids and a fantastic coaching staff, which has all made the difference. And a little different with this team this year. Each team that we've had in the last 5-6 years, we've been super blessed with, and we've had a lot of success. Just seems like this team just seems to click a little bit better. And we sent a message early in the year to try to make sure we call it out-loving our opponents and out-loving in situations, and brought in a leadership coach this year, Bob Groves, and he's really helped kind of grow that. And the kids have really bought into that as their own thing. And that's kind of been the difference here. And really for them, I think early on, we split at Christopher Newport. We lost a game we should have won, and then we came back and won a game that we probably should have lost. And it showed them that when they don't play well, they can be beat, but they also knew that they can come from behind, and that not lose, can't lose attitude has really just driven them this year. So it's been super special for us. Are we as good? People are, is this the best team you've ever had? Is this the most talented team you ever had? I don't really know the answer to that. It's like saying, is Michael Jordan and LeBron James conversation. If I put some of those teams that pass against this team, how would it shake out? I think at the end of it, this is a very talented team. They've had the most success. Or is it the best team we've had? I don't know the answer to that. I don't think anybody will ever know the answer to that. Maybe we're a little bit better than other teams that we've played. Maybe this is the best team that we've had. But specifically this season has been probably the most enjoyable for our coaching staff, just because it's really been drama-free, and the kids have really handled things on their own for the first time. I mean, we've always got our players to buy in to a motto or buy into an expectation that came from our coaching staff. And this year it was more so the kids creating something and then having the coaches buy into that. And anytime you can have young people, it be their vision, they're going to support that vision a little bit more. And this group just happened to have their own vision, which has certainly paid dividends. And the first assistant I had, nobody wanted to be our assistant. Program was kind of struggling a little bit. I had Rick Strawby here for 2 years, and Rick retired after his 2 years, and he's like, I've done what I could to help us kind of get to this point. And then just super blessed, I got Coach Inzana, Jim Inzana, and Jim Quinn in the same year. And the cool thing behind those guys was actually Jim Quinn's daughter, Jacqueline, was on the team and had transferred in. And then Jim Inzana's daughter, Lindsay, transferred in his second year. So what those guys have, we talk about off the field, the experience they have is they've heard the stories about Coach Elliott at home from a father's standpoint, so they know how to deal with the players and help put out fires when I don't do things the right way. But they also know from a parental standpoint the struggles the parents might have because they had daughters play in this program. And they've seen their daughters grow up and hopefully grow from the culture of this program into fine young women, and they both are. They're both great friends and fantastic. But having Jim along, Jim Inzana is the best pitching coach in the country. He runs all of the pitching, and we don't have to do anything. I get him the scouts. He runs the pitching. He calls the pitches. The pitchers are him. I'm the volunteer assistant when it comes to pitching. The crazy thing with Jim is we call him Sandman. We basically say, go out and recruit. Brandon's going to go out and recruit good pitching, and Jim's going to make them great. And we always say just sprinkles a little bit of Sandman dust on them, and they're Conference Pitcher of the Year. But I can't say enough about what he's done for our program, not only in the pitching standpoint, but offensively, the defense, and that sort of thing. And then you got Jim Quinn, who's probably, I would say Jim is he's one of the most humble, but the most caring individuals I've ever had in my life. He is just, he's a sensitive guy, but he loves the girls. He'll do anything for them, from as far as seeds to gum to, if they're superstitious, he's in their superstitions and just kind of loving on them in the dugout. But, like you said, to have both of those guys with me for 8 years has been huge. And, I'm the youngest coach on our staff, and I have been. And those guys have been mentors to me. They've been father figures to me. They know they can pull me aside and say, what are you doing? or hey, we need, as Zan will say, we need a little bit of B today. And to have that, and they're not yes coaches, they're I don't think so, they're no, and every now and then they agree with me. I need that. I need somebody to say that's not a good idea. In the 8 years that we've had together, that trust is great. So when we don't agree, knowing that they're saying that to the best. And sometimes if I'm outnumbered 2-1, I'm going to go to the decision that they're making. But that continuity has been huge for us as a staff. And then the girls know what to expect. And, there's some girls that get along with Coach Zana or Coach Quinn or myself differently and maybe more so better or maybe work with them better. And knowing that I can let that go. And it's not a pride issue for us. It's hey, let's let this kid, if Coach Zana is going to work with her and she's going to be better because she's working just solely with him, let's go. Who cares about the credit? And I think that's been the big thing. We all have the same goal. And we genuinely care about each other, even in the off season, and just being a part of their lives. So it's been really blessed with the men that I've had help us here.
Talk a little bit about the players over the last several years that you've had to help set the basis for the program you've had from your very beginning, that first recruiting class you're trying to pull in. What was the focus, and how have you helped refine that? How have the players that you've been able to draw here to Virginia Wesleyan help refine what you go out and look for when you're recruiting?
Well, really, it started with coming back. I'd taken over the job just as an intern for 8 games or whatnot, and we went over to Salisbury and absolutely got crushed, 18-2 and 21-1. Not that I remember. And on the way back from that, I didn't know the women on the team at that time, and shoot, I was only 2 years older than them, and we're on the way back, and they're like, "Hey, you're gonna get the job next year." I'm like, "I have no idea," but they're like, "Well, we got a girl that's at Radford, and she wants to transfer this, that, and the other, and her name was Brittany Brown." And I was like, "Put her on the phone." She's got her release. And we put her on the phone. I had a conversation with her, and for some reason, Brittany Brown decided to come here. And I arguably think that she is one of the best, if not the best, pitchers to ever come out of the ODAC. And she came here, and it was like we now have an elite player, and then we had good players around her. And the Brianna Bertoviches and the Jacqueline Quinns and the Kelly Keys, and they started kind of going around Brittany. We got a little bit better, and then we were able to compete in the circle. And then all of a sudden we were able to get, a Mackenzie Creech to commit, and then that whole class with the season dailies and the Tori Higginbothams, and those kids kind of morph from each other, and then they see a Tori Higginbotham as a 3-time Conference Player of the Year, and like, wow, they're a great program. And then you get the Courtney Bogans, the Christina Cara-Georges, and then it just started to build from there. But I think every one of those kids, maybe aside from Brittany, came in as a good player. Even Tori, she had a good freshman year, but she developed. And that's been kind of the key here, is being able to get good kids that are good players and watch them develop. And they bought in. And, I said the other day on social media, and I meant it, was you don't really you don't go into trying to build a program. You just try to build people. And if you build people the right way, the people will build the program. And that's really what's happened, is we've gotten the right people in here when I'm talking about the kids, and we've tried to build them with work ethic and determination, and we've been able to recruit better people as we've gotten better, and we've been able to be more selective. We never get the most talented player, but we get good players that really are like, I want to get better. And then it's just amazing to watch those kids just buy in and start to get better and better academically, and they're better kids. And that's really, you think 10 years ago, we had great kids then, and I could rattle off all 32 or 33 alum that we've had, and I have a special relationship with every one of them. And they all come back, and they all support it, and they're all excited about the successes we had. And my message to every one of them has been, you have as much to do with this as anybody else. And I think that means a lot to them too, and they mean a lot to us.
Not only have you had internal success just with your program and building a program and whatnot, but you've been successful on the field in a tough conference, in a place where we have an 8-team tournament that we've seen the 8 seed come through and win the tournament. I remember J.D. McCurdy and Eastern Mennonite doing that a few years ago.
Beat us.
Yeah, there you go. Talk a little bit about the league that you've seen as it grow a little bit, and how Virginia Wesleyan has fit into that and been able to have the success that you've had over the last 10 years.
People say, "Oh, you guys just ran through the ODAC." There's no such thing as running through that. You army crawl with like one leg through the ODAC. It's the best conference in the country with the best coaches. The cool thing about the ODAC is, as coaches, we all really genuinely do get along. We want to beat each other's heads in between the lines, but I think the first person is Dawn Simmons comes to mind. She's been a great mentor. I remember like my second or third year, I went out to argue a call, and I came back in, and we're at her place, and she's eating a bag of chips on her little chair, and she looked up and she goes, if you don't argue every call, you might get one. And it made me so angry. And it took me about a year, but the reason I was so angry is because she was right. And she's really been able to mentor me in ways that I don't think that she's had, and we've built just a great, tremendous relationship. And JD's as competitive as they get, and still talk to Donnie Falk from Bridgewater. Dennis Shores came in the league about the same time, and those guys. But they always build great programs, and it's a dogfight in the ODAC. And it is a tough conference. To have the success we've had has been unreal. To get through the conference with no losses, or one or two losses has been unreal. I really think if you can go through that thing 15-5, then you've had a great year. We've just been extremely fortunate to win the close games, but it's even going to be a stronger conference next year. We've just been very fortunate to get through it, and there's a lot of great players and great coaches that continue to come through the ODAC.
And let's come back full circle to where we are now. Last year, a little bit of a disappointment. You host the regional, and you go out after 2 games. Not the way you wanted to do it, because you had arguably another outstanding team, maybe more talented than this year's team, maybe not. That's up for other people to decide if they want to do that. But then right away, you're right back at it here. This year, don't host a regional. You go on the road, you win it at Ashland, and now you're back here at your home park, the friendly confines of your park, at a level that Virginia Wesleyan hasn't been in since it changed to the national tournament to the regional, super regional format. Before 8 teams get to go to Oklahoma City to possibly play for a national championship. Talk a little bit about that process, the hunger that team had coming out of last year right now, and what it's going to take one more step and be one of those final 8 teams to get to Oklahoma City to compete against one of 7 other teams that should be considered the top 8 in the country for a national championship here at Virginia Wesleyan.
We talk a little bit about BHAGs here, and that's big, hairy, audacious goals. And 10 years ago, that was a BHAG, and that's what we sold in the recruiting process was, hey, we may never win a national championship, but our goal is to compete to win one every year that we're here. And here we are again with an opportunity, and it continues to grow. I think the mistake that we've made in the past, if I'm being brutally honest, was we always talked about last year and what we didn't do. And that's kind of been our message this year. About midway through is we found ourselves as a staff kind of caught up in, well, when we got in the regional last year, we're like, it's a different team. I mean, we have 4 freshmen that are starting playing every day. They don't know. And so we're trying to literally take it a game at a time, and this year's about this year. And what we've told our kids is, look around. You're never going to play with this exact same group ever again. Ever. Because we're going to add kids in. Kids are going to graduate. Kids are going to quit or whatnot. You're never going to be this unit again. And so really fortunate that we continue to roll through it. And I think we were in the toughest super regional. There's one down in Texas that's pretty tough. And Kane has kids with experience of playing in the World Series. And we really haven't talked about it. It's just, even our preparation, we talked about a couple things they do, but our preparation's been, we just got to be better here, then we got to execute there. We wanted to be on the road for the regional to get the jinx out of the way in their head and travel a little bit. And now we're back home in a 2 out of 3 series, and I think home field advantage is big for us. So we're excited to play at home and let our seniors graduate tomorrow, and blessed to have the opportunity. God's been so good to us just to give us this opportunity, and we're going to go out there and give it the best shot we got. If we're not lucky, we're not fortunate this weekend, I know that Margie and Kane, they're a great program. It's not like in years past we got upset by somebody, but somebody's going to get out of this thing and be super excited. I hope it's us. I think we have the better team. I think we have a great opportunity, and I would love to be in Oklahoma City, and that's, like I said, that's a BHAG for us. But to be where we're at right now, there's only 16 teams out of 406 or whatever it is. So we're going to try to enjoy being here and grinding through it, and hopefully we're smiling at the end of the day on Saturday and not crying. But either way, this has been a special run. We've done a lot of really cool things.